Mr. Durbin. Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego. Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Markowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Cortez Masto, Grassley, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Kane, Kennedy, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Merkley, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Hall, Reed, Schiff, Shaheen, Smith, Tillis, Van Hollen, Warner, Welch. Ms. Hassan, aye. Senators voting in the negative: also Brooks, Banks, Blackburn, Blumenthal, Kramer, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Duckworth, Durbin, Ernst, Fisher, Hirono, Hyde-Smith, Justice, Kim, Langford, Marshall, Moody, Moreno, Ricketts, Rosen, Rounds, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Tuberville, Warren, Whitehouse, Wicker. Mr. Haggerty, no. Mr. Schatz, no. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. Husted, no. Ms. Slotkin, no. Mr. Cotton, no. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Peters, no. Mr. Young,
See, there are both sides here.
no.
Yeah, most of them belong in prison or deep under the ocean.
Mr.
Most of these
Hoban,
people are
Mr. Hoban,
criminals.
no. Mr. Warnock, aye. Mr. Wyden, aye. Miss Baldwin, aye. Mr. Moran, no. Mrs. Capito, no. Mr. Mullen, no. Mr. Gallego, aye.
Yeah, I believe some stuff will have to go back to the House. Depending.
Mr. Graham, no.
Do I have? No, I don't. Fuck. I don't have that other one on here. I want to see this.
We begin tonight with what President Trump calls his big, beautiful bill, which could be headed for a final vote in the Senate after a long day of debating amendments to it and perhaps for some Republican members staring into the abyss. Here's why. Polling consistently shows it is strikingly unpopular with voters. The Congressional Budget Office estimates it adds more than $3 trillion to the national debt and could deprive nearly 12 million Americans of health insurance through Medicaid.
Yeah.
That in it now comes with a double dose of existential terror for Republicans on the fence. On the one hand, the president over the weekend managed to drive one opponent of the bill out of seeking another term. On the other, Elon Musk has just weighed in on anyone voting yes, quoting him now. Every member of Congress who campaigned on reducing government spending and then immediately voted for the biggest debt increase in history should hang their head in shame.
Yeah.
And if that weren't enough, he adds, and they will lose their primary next year if it is the last thing I do on this earth.
Good
now,
luck.
given that his Mars mission won't be ready to go for years, that's a lot of primaries. But that's not all. He also reiterated his call from 3 weeks ago for a new political party and says he would start one a day after the bill passes. Rock, meet hard place. North Carolina's Tom Tillis chose The Rock, announcing that he will not seek another term, and he slammed the president on the bill's Medicaid cuts.
Yeah, Medicaid.
What do I tell 660?
This is the thing. People ain't hiring people in their fucking 60s. Hardly. It's cut off is the 40s, usually. People want to hire young people. People that are fast ought to go think quickly. They don't want to hire old people. People that can't get around, move around, can't think as fast. Where's this bullshit with Republicans? You know why? Because they don't have a real job doing this. These people ain't got a real fucking job. I hate both sides. They should both be drowned under the ocean. I hate both sides. I hate both of them. They're fucking trash, both of them. And because I know politicians personally, I know some and stuff. I have no respect for them. None. They sell out you in a second. They throw you under a bus in a second. They throw you under a bus, and everything. And I mean, they okayed it. They refused to cut illegals getting it. We have bankruptcy in welfare, Social Security. We have domestic programs being cut for the poor that need it. Illegals are getting all this shit for free. They shouldn't be getting. And it pisses me the fuck off. As someone that's low income myself, it doesn't make that much. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't. You don't always make it in life. That's the way it is. You don't. It pisses me off.
3,000 people in 2 years or 3 years. When President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there anymore, guys, it is inescapable.
The thing is that it's bankrupt. The Democrats, I mean, they need to fess up as well and say that it's bankrupt. It is. This is why they want to raise the age of, when you retire, which is bullshit. It should be 55, not even the way it is now at, 65? They keep on raising it because we're running out of money. We're out of money. We're running out of it. And people don't have enough jobs. So you go to work, and there's not enough jobs as it is. Hundreds of thousands of jobs are lost. They're not being added. At least long-term jobs. We don't have enough jobs being created that are long-term. We have short-term minimum wage jobs being added more often. Or jobs that have no longevity whatsoever. With no, real retirement, no health care benefits as much. So it isn't like the old days.
Capable that this bill in its current form will betray the very promise that Donald J. Trump made in the Oval Office.
So today, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Senator Tillis is, and these are her words, just wrong. But listen to what the president has been saying on this subject going back a decade and decide for yourself.
Save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without cuts. Have to do it.
We're going
They actually put
to
both sides on it.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We're not going to do anything with that.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that.
Would
No,
you
we're
veto
not.
that?
I would if they were cutting it, but they're not cutting it. We're not cutting Medicaid. We're not cutting Medicare.
A lot to get to tonight. CNN Chief White House Correspondent Caitlin Collins starts us off. Caitlin, how concerned is the White House about potential cracks in the Republican coalition?
I mean, they're watching all of this and watching Senator Tom Tillis, in that scathing floor speech on Sunday, John. But then, of course, after he announced that he was not going to be seeking re-election, the president was cheerleading that and saying essentially good riddance to Tom Tillis, given they believe he's been a thorn in their side during all of this. And John, obviously, when they look at this overall, and I've been talking to White House officials about what they think is ultimately going to happen here, they do think this will pass. They don't think Republicans are going to defy the president on his signature legislation as big and sweeping as it is, and with those potential cuts, the question is how long it's going to take to get.
One thing is, we're putting trillions. I mean, anybody that watched my show that I did a couple days ago on this, where they're going over 900 pages of what's included, and there's trillions of dollars just on defense spending, just on that. And you have AI initiatives, cyber warfare, etc., and everything like that. What about other programs, public health programs that we need, and stuff like that? Where's all this money that we also need for, special need programs, welfare and other programs, low income people and stuff like that? And I mean, it's more like, Trump seems to be more just about spending money about military and stuff like that. And instead of, exactly having the tax cuts, I mean, I'm for no tips and stuff like that, no taxes on tips. Nobody should be taxed for tips and stuff like that. That's just bullshit. A lot of taxes that we have is BS nowadays. And everything. There's a few good things that are in the bill, big beautiful bill, but there's stuff that I also hate as well. I'm not on any political side. I'm not. I'm just calling this stuff out the way that I feel it is and everything, and we're just adding to the military-industrial complex. And what about the people that need it, and everything? I know my ancestors that weren't tribal and stuff, that were already here, they get free health care, free, welfare, EBT and all this stuff, and they voted to keep that out of the bill, which really pisses me off in a lot of ways, because it adds to bankrupting what Americans, that's supposed to be for Americans only, and stuff like that. Illegals are never supposed to get all that, You have to come through a process of doing things legally, etc. And you're not supposed to come here for doing that.
This through to get this done, and that's what they've been watching, obviously very closely at the White House. But with Senator Tillis there, as he's coming out and he's saying that the president is being misinformed by his advisors on what is actually in this bill, and that it's going to make him essentially go back on the promises that you just heard him say there about not interfering with people's Medicaid benefits. I mean, the White House is just flatly rejecting that and arguing that it's wrong. But I think you have to look at,
like I keep saying, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, stop making this political and just call out what it is that's going bankrupt, which it is, includes Social Security. There's not enough money for it to be sustained, for it to keep going. There isn't. They've been saying that for decades now. Is Social Security and all sort of stuff wasn't meant for everybody to be on, including other welfare type programs. It wasn't, especially illegals and everything. So, I mean, they need to call that out for what it really is. Stop making it partisan and come to a mutual understanding that we need to fix this before it's too late, because it just about is too late. Raising the age bracket to work isn't going to help when people in their 60s are not supposed to work. They've done their time working. They've done their time in the pen.
with Tillis's decision yesterday to say he's not going to be seeking re-election, he doesn't really have a lot to lose here in terms of why he is speaking out and why he is saying that, or any incentive to say something that he doesn't actually think could put Republicans in peril. And so that is something they're watching, obviously, closely at the White House. They just essentially want to get this passed. They want to be able to talk about tax cuts and have that as something that they are trumpeting. And you're seeing how the president is working.
The thing is, it is already coming. This is going to happen anyway, no matter what political side in office. This is a byproduct of both sides, not just one. It's just that they didn't want to fix the issue. They just blame each other and say, oh, it's your fault, and this is your problem. And each president says, well, I'll let the next one take care, I'll try to take care of it maybe. But the other side, whether Democrat or Republican, seems to sink that shit. So
on this in terms of writing scathing Truth Social posts of people who are disagreeing with him, and also taking senators out for golfing trips, calling them up on the phone and chatting with them as this slog right now on Capitol Hill is happening with all these amendments that they are trying to get passed. None of them so far have gotten passed.
Well, speaking of people who disagree with him, Elon Musk came out with a new/old threat today, saying he would primary or push to primary any lawmakers who support this bill. That's a split again with the president. How does the White House view this?
Well, it's interesting because a few White House officials were surprised that he came out today and said this, given he had gone largely quiet on his criticisms of the president and of legislation that he's trying to get passed. He had actually come out and said he regretted some of the things he said about Trump when they were sniping back and forth at one another previously. And so now to look at this, what he's saying, I mean, he's going after this and saying Democrats and Republicans are both in the wrong here. A new political party needs to be formed, that all of Washington, he says, is in agreement more than they are in disagreement, and threatening to primary Republicans who vote yes on this. Obviously, John, that is a lot of Republicans who are likely expected to vote yes on this that he's saying that he would be going after. But he's essentially trying to...
The thing is that both sides, it isn't like the old days where both sides could get together, compromise, and agree. You see, both sides are actually like extremists, radical extremists, bloodthirsty animals, carnivorous meat eaters wanting to just, destroy the other side. And this is a problem with America and also with media, how they have things and they're polarized, and because of that people are getting misinformation, disinformation, etc. Is that people aren't getting fed truth, they're getting fed a political bias as well. And people, they don't want to get along, they don't want to compromise, they don't want to do what's best for the people of America. They want to do what they're also getting paid for by, political donors, non-governmental organizations as well. It's gotten worse in the past few presidencies and everything. Both sides have just gone mad, fucking insane.
To highlight what he says is the criticism of Republicans who complain about big spending in Washington and then are about to vote on this, given the estimates that we've seen, including from the budget office this weekend, of just how much this is going to add to the deficit.
Yeah, that's a lot of primaries. You better have deep pockets. Caitlin Collins, thank you very much. And of course, you can join Caitlin at the top of the hour for The Source. She's going to speak to Senator Elizabeth Warren tonight.
Check it right now. Days for any follows as long as you're not a bot. If you're a bot, don't follow. Right? I see that kid has too many bots. You finally get some followers and then you find out they're a bot. Hopefully that's not the case. But anyways.
Now let's bring in Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. He's on the Armed Services and Judiciary Committee. Senator, nice to see you. Any prediction on what will happen tonight and what time?
Certainly, I have no prediction on time, and I've just come from the Senate floor. There's a real question about whether they have the votes. They are really struggling because they face this dilemma of making $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, which require them to make slashing cuts in Medicaid, in...
I mean, there's both sides. I mean, the thing is, if you're all of what he says is not entirely true, of course, what he's saying. The thing is, there is some cuts and everything on tax stuff and everything in this bill, and all this money that we're saving should go back to the people, Americans that need it. Now, I don't trust the government, of course, but I'm just saying that's where it should go to, is the people that need it, Americans that need this, and stuff like that. Some people are going to say, of course, that they should get their money back. I see that definitely, if that is possible and everything. And what would you spend it on? What's some of these tax cuts? I mean, nobody should have to pay taxes on tips. That's just saying, fuck you. The government owns you. That's what it is, you know. Which the government wants to own you.
Nutrition programs, in aid to veterans, and student loans, and much, much more, which will have really drastic effects on their constituents. So right now, they're engaged in this horse trading kind of process, providing exemptions or exceptions for parts of populations.
This is crazy for me, dude, because I'm not on any political side or anything. So I have to call out both sides a lot of times.
In certain states trying to get their approval with earmarks, as they used to be known. And the reason they're struggling is that the American people get it. That's why 2-1, they disapprove of this bill. The tax cuts for the billionaires of
that's not true.
That's not are absolutely necessary. Ballooning national debt
that's
by
not
$3.3 trillion.
Bullshit.
Absolutely abhorrent. And so I think that they're going to be struggling for the better part of this evening, maybe into tomorrow morning or later.
What does Senator Tillis, his announcement that he won't seek re-election, what does that tell you?
Let's see, I might have to go back.
What it tells me is that any
I need
Republican
to put on
who
Andrew
stands
Grabka.
up to Donald Trump.
I saw this stuff here.
That state has a binding claim upon you.
And like I said, I'm not on any political side. Some of the stuff I do agree on, some stuff I don't, of course. He's mostly right-leaning and stuff. But some stuff I wish there was chapters in here. He does stuff on law, attorney Andrew Grabka. Self-defense, lawyer. There has it right there. Let me see here. I want to see some stuff. Let me see. I want to see some, because it has to do, all stuff comes together with this bill and everything. So, let's see here. I like some constitutional stuff as well. Still on there.
Exercise of political power. Right? Tourists coming to the U.S. We may want to count tourists. Do the census and count tourists. It would be interesting to know what's the tourist industry in America from various nations around the world. That doesn't...
See. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned amongst the several states which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of BS jargon in here. It looks like they just make it up as they go. Kind of political BS talk. All number of free persons, including those bound by service for a term of years, that excluding the Indians, not taxed 3/5.
Doesn't mean the census is counting those people for purposes of granting them political power, directly or indirectly.
Let's see here.
Legal and political analysis for all of you, and all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a penny. If you've already subscribed, I know you have friends and family who haven't yet subscribed yet. If you like this content, maybe they'll like it too. Go on social media.
It's good for
self-defense. Suggest people check out the Andrew Branca Show on YouTube. Again, if you like it, maybe they'll like it as well. Also, for every $1 super chat, is super valuable for all of us. Thanks a ton, Phil. Did I not pop that up? There's Phil. Citizenship to the state simply by being born on their soil, that state has a binding claim upon you. That's the reciprocity with genuine birthright citizenship. Americans detested that notion. We explicitly did not adopt that notion. We adopted, as we've gone through, different standards. We, the American government, on you. That's the reciprocity. If you want to be an American citizen and it's not automatic because you were born on our soil to American parents, you have to choose. You have to be naturalized. Those were the two ways. You're born on American soil to American parents, or born to American parents anywhere, or you're naturalized. And of course, naturalization is a choice of reciprocity. You choose to be naturalized, and the government, the United States, chooses to accept your naturalization. You can't get further away from that than illegal invasion. So understanding how England did it and recognizing that our founders, well aware of the English system, they were English, remember, before our victory in the Revolutionary War. They knew very well how England did it, and they despised it. That's why they abandoned it.
That's true.
One pro expert, $5. Elk v. Wilkins defines jurisdiction. Maybe I'll go through Elk v. Wilkins sometimes. I have to be careful about how much hard law I do, especially the older cases are. They obviously English changes over time in terms of, particularly in terms of like writing style, and those those decisions that when you do a super sticker, it does not count towards the goal of $5 super chats. That's
so around here.
What kind of sense does that make? Nations into utter building our country with legal immigration. It all must end. America has no more vacancy for the third world. Not if we want to remain America. If we just want to become the third world, you import the third world, you become the third world. We don't have magical American soil.
We don't have enough money for
that turns
primitive Haitians
into a productive, modern,
it's our responsibility.
Respectful of property rights.
I always say, if you don't like your country so much, overthrow the government. Like we did, our ancestors did here. I related to a founding father myself. We didn't like England. We didn't like taxes. By the way, they were revolted against the current government that we have today. They would have been labeled terrorists today for revolting against government for taxes we have, etc. and everything, because it's all BS and everything. But they didn't like England over there and stuff and everything over there the way it was.
Natural law, American citizens. There's no magic portal they pass through when they come here. They remain Haitians. By the way, like 500,000 Haitians and Venezuelans and others are currently in this country. Trump's working hard to deport them. They came in under special permission.
I think it's very important for people to know this isn't about, being racist against Latinos or stuff like that. Like the news likes to make it. Likes to put out misinformation that this is a race thing. It's not. You have Russians, you have North Koreans, you have Chinese being jailed, being arrested as well. Then, of course, you have Haitians and everybody else from other Latin countries and stuff like that. And the news puts out that they're all peaceful, stuff like that. Then the GOJ comes out and say, oh, this person is convicted of rape, pedophilia, murder, all this other stuff, raping a child and everything like that. Don't trust mainstream news because they're going to lie their ass off about it. They say this was a hard-working person making their way and stuff like that.
Because they had turned their own nations into utter shitholes that we agreed no human being should have to live in. But the fact that the Haitians, for example, have turned their nation into an utter shithole does not strike me as a compelling reason to import hundreds of thousands of them into American communities. What kind of sense does that make? And to the extent someone's going to say, no, don't worry, the bad Haitians were left behind. We only brought in the good Haitians, the productive Haitians, the ones that do believe in the rule of law and property rights and all that. Well, if that's true, who needs those people more than Haiti? We are doing a disservice to Haiti by poaching their most productive, capable citizens from them. The right thing to do, the moral thing to do, the just thing to do for them in their interest, their national interest, is to send them all back home. All back home. I got a few other things.
Keep in mind, a lot of people, a lot of these cities that have housed, Haitians, these other places have kicked other Americans out of their homes or apartments that I've done videos on as well, and have watched other content creators on here reporting about how politicians made money off the illegals coming here, or it be Haitians, Trinidad, Aragua, MS-13 type people, illegals coming here from different countries. They'll take out, white Americans or other Americans, doesn't matter what color, and they'll put about a dozen people into one room, the illegals in one room. They'll put up to 30 people in one house. They'll make all that money off of government subsidies, programs, housing programs, stuff like that, special housing programs and stuff like that, brackets and everything like that. And they'll make all this money off of them. Whereas if they're Americans, they cannot make all that money because there's laws in place. But if it's illegal and stuff like that, you can stack them up in these homes if they're owned by the politicians that are running the cities, etc. You're talking about Aurora, Colorado, other places like that, Chicago, etc. You have this here. I was in a home when I was on probation. These pieces of shit people would have up to 4 to 6 people in one room. Me, I had to stay there because I'm on probation. I was homeless at the time. Then I said, fuck you, I'm not going to do that and everything. It's a good reason to go back to jail instead, of going through that bullshit, which I did. And I'm glad that I did, because I also got into fights with, the stuff that I went through. I personally got through shit, so nobody can say I'm lying my ass off. I've been through this shit. I've seen this shit happen. Except for, it's illegal. It's happening to American citizens as well and everything. But it's a lot worse with the illegals because you get away with a lot more and everything. But I know what they're doing, they're making $1,000. Okay, so 3 times, boy, they're making like 12,000 or something like that off of people. That's 30,000 or more, 100,000 with all these people in one house or whatever, depending. Yeah, I mean, they want the illegals to stay there, and it's crazy. I just remember stuff that I went through. I want to erase that from my memory of being homeless, and then probation told me go to this house, and they just stacked people in one room and shit. And I just said, fuck you, I'm not doing this shit. I ended up in a fight. I ended up being in prison for beating up the owner of this house for telling me to do stuff when I'm sick and have pneumonia and all sorts of stuff and lung infection and everything. I was glad to go back to jail. I was glad to go back to jail instead of the fucking bullshit that they made me go through in these houses that they put me in.
To say. So the Democrats party is now a complete party of NPCs. There's not an independent thought among them. Hey, SR, $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. I should mention that when you do a super sticker, it does not count towards the goal of 15 $5 super chats. That only counts super chats. Don't blame me. I'm just a messenger. So if you were thinking about doing a $5 super sticker, I would say do it as a super chat. And if you don't want to write something substantive, just put a period or a punctuation mark or something in there so it counts toward the goal. I'll count this towards the goal mentally, but just so you know, moving forward. So the Democrats have become utterly an NPC party. There's not original thought upon them. If you're on social media, you've seen this. You've seen a talking point come out from one of them. And within minutes, 30 or 40 more Democrat senators and congressmen and governors, they're all saying the same talking point. And there's a plethora of them out right now. For example, with the towards Democrat political power in the House are able-bodied Americans capable of working that are not available for Americans. So right now, one of the talking points of the Democrats...
Some of it is too political leaning. I have to keep on putting a disclaimer how I'm not on either side. I ain't doing that. Anyways, let's go. Hopefully, let's see.
Education, healthcare, social services that are not available for Americans. So right now, one of the talking points of the Democrats is, and they just make up these numbers, but sometimes it's 6 million, 7 million, 11 million, 16 million people are going to lose their health care coverage over the big, beautiful bill because they're going to lose Medicaid. You know who those people are? They're a combination of two kinds of people. They're a combination of a relatively small number of Americans who are grifting the system. These are able-bodied Americans capable of working and paying for their own health care, just like I have to and you have to. But they've grifted their way inappropriately onto the Medicaid system. They should not be receiving Medicaid, despite being American citizens. Medicaid should be limited to people who cannot work, who are in desperate need of that care. And by the way, we have more Medicaid resources for the people who should be getting it if we remove from the Medicaid rolls the people who are stealing from the program. And some of those people who are stealing from it are American citizens, able-bodied, capable of work, who should now be on the rolls. But the large majority of these numbers of people, and they never say American citizens will lose their coverage. They always just say residents.
This thing I have to put on both sides, and I need to remember this. There are Americans. Plenty of Americans are taking advantage of the welfare system, Medicaid system. There are. That should be working as much as illegals. I need to put that there, and this is the reason why I had on there, because things need to be corrected. I need to correct things as well. It's not just illegals. Americans are doing the same thing as well. So.
People, Californians, Maryland men, will lose their health care under the big, beautiful bill. What they're really talking about is millions upon millions upon millions of illegal migrant third world invaders who are currently receiving free health care at American taxpayer expense under Medicaid. Do you get free health care? I don't get free health care. Why should an illegal migrant third world invader of my nation be getting free health care at my expense? By the way, you think that's a powerful incentive crafted by the Democrats to lure, bait, attract these invaders into our nation, specifically for the purpose of providing the Democrats with disproportionate political power, which the American citizens refuse to provide them? That's why they have to import these illegal migrant third world invaders. Hey, come on in, we'll give you free health care. World-class American health care. Not that shit you got in Guatemala or Haiti. No witch doctors here. We have CT scanners. Got a cough?
Yep.
Just hit the emergency room. They'll be
X-ray
covered under
machines
Medicare,
and-
even if you're not
yeah,
formally
CT
enrolled.
scans,
That's how
all that,
California
yeah.
does it. When illegal migrant third world invaders go into the ER and get free medical care, California bills Medicare.
This is why people are going to riot across the nation and everything. This is why these sleazeballs are going to take over roads, freeways, beat up law enforcement people. Back in my day, they'd shoot you for doing that. They'd kick your ass, and rightfully so. They shoot you dead, and rightfully so. They deserved it. A lot of them did for what they did. Everything. Now, there's stuff that I don't like about law enforcement as well. There's stuff that I hate about law enforcement. But I do not, there's stuff I hate about the government. A total hate. But I don't in any way condone or respect any fucking illegals coming over here and shitting on our government and complaining about it. Because these are pieces of shit entitled people that deserve nothing whatsoever. My ancestors, most people's ancestors, when they came over, they got nothing for free. There's no health care. There's no EBT, no welfare programs, no social security. You're on your own. You want food? Get it yourself. You want food? Get a fucking job. And sometimes we'd have family here. That would help out, of course. But you got a bunch of entitled people. And like I said, I don't like this to be about, I have to put on both sides. Right? So I need to be reminded as well, is that this isn't, I'm not going to make this about illegal hate. There are a lot of Americans that are abusing the system as well. There are trailer trash people, trailer trash, street trash people are taking, American citizens are taking advantage as well. And the illegals are doing it as well. So that compounds to a situation of millions of people. And it's a drought that we have. It's running on fumes right now for, welfare programs, Social Security, and, Medicaid healthcare programs, Medi-Cal, whatever, depends on what state you're in, and stuff, so.
Sorry. Medicaid. California bills the government program. So you may not be an illegal migrant formally on the rolls, but your care is free and it's being paid for through that government program. Medicaid. California alone, that one state, by its own admission, spends $8 billion a year on free health care for illegal migrant third world invaders through Medi-Cal, their Medicaid, their state Medicaid program.
Right.
That's one state. Spends $8 billion a year.
At least. For just,
and so all these Democrats, post after post
see why
after...
California has over $40 billion in debt. They've been cutting special programs for low-income people here, and help for them, different types of programs for Americans that need it and stuff. And when you have billions and billions, I say more like 20 billion for illegals and stuff like that. That should be going towards them. It should be going towards Americans. Instead, they're funneling in illegals so they can get the vote, redraw district lines as well as some of these other states as well. They don't care if Americans are suffering or dying. They don't. They don't give a shit. They don't. Remember FEMA? They didn't have enough money for hurricane victims and stuff like that, natural disasters. They said they spent it all on illegals. They should be swimming down in the water with the fishies right now.
after post. Oh my God, if the big beautiful bill passes, millions of people will lose their health care. Yes, they are millions of people who ought not be goddamn in my country in the first place.
That is true too. Again, both sides. I want both sides of this, because there are people that, people are to get cut that need, and people that shouldn't have to get cut. I want both sides of the fence. I see both sides of this.
Get their health care in Mexico and Guatemala and Venezuela and Haiti at someone else's expense. America is not a hospital ATM for all 7 billion people on the face of the earth if they can only manage to sneak their way over the border. No other nation on earth would be suicidal enough to do that to itself, except the Democrats in America, who of course care about nothing but their own political power. They will gladly rule over a United States of incinerated ashes rather than be out of political power.
That hurts.
Another talking about the Democrats, I love right now. All these stories about all these poor people. Look at these ICE thugs. They wear masks. They broke out a car window. They're pulling a woman off a tree. She's hugging a tree. And she hasn't committed a crime. These people haven't committed a crime. And ICE is coming and taking them away, and they're going to be disappeared. They're going to be sent to some nation they've never heard of. They're going to be sent to Djibouti or Sudan. It's horrible. Why are we doing? What about this alligator Alcatraz? It's dehumanized. You know what? I've got a solution for all of them.
Oh boy.
You know how you avoid getting hassled by ICE? Getting your car window broken out, getting dragged off a tree, taken out of Home Depot, raided from your restaurant or construction job, put on a plane to some country you never heard of. You know how you avoid all of that? Get the F out of my country. Go home. ICE does not go to Mexico. ICE does not go to Guatemala. ICE does not go to Venezuela. ICE does not go to Haiti to hassle anybody. You want to avoid getting hassled by ICE? Either be an American citizen, be lawfully present, or get the F out of my country. ICE isn't chasing anybody.
Again, Obama had 3.6 million people. He deported 3.6 million illegals. Nobody complained or said anything. Obama said over and over, you're going to go to the back of the line, not the front of the line. Americans first, you last. You're all going to learn English whether you like it or not. And you're going to do things the legal way. You're going to earn your way. You're going to learn U.S. laws, Constitution, etc. Do it the legal way. That's what it's about. Contribute to us, and you're not entitled to anything free. Now, if I see a sick kid, that's illegal. That's dying, stuff like that. Do you think I'm not going to render aid? Because I've done nursing before. I've done stuff. I've done first aid. Do you think I'm not going to? No. I'm going to help. I don't care. I see a sick baby dying. I've been in the ER. Half of my life, over half of my life in the ER. Sick people, dying. Do you think I would deny them help? Medical help? No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask them, are you an illegal? Fuck no. I'd give them what they need. That's what you're supposed to do. However, at the same time, it's like I said, you have a bad government in power. I believe that the people in these countries need to revolt and destroy their governments. They need to rise up with guns and everything else blazing on them. Take them out, put in a democratic government. One that helps the people, that's for the people. I'm totally the advocate of, of that. Rebelling, revolting against the government when they're no longer doing what the people want. And if they're not doing stuff for the people, but their own interests and stuff. And let me see here. Where is that at? Is that right here? Let's see here. I had to leave that at that because I've actually gotten sick of how it seems like the hate has gotten. I don't like to be like that. I really don't. But big beautiful over pork barrel bill.
Mr. Mullen, no.
And they're already building stuff. Trump has put $1 trillion of wasteful money into AI. Stargate program. $500 billion, into these companies that have already been built or being built. Because he wants the US to be number one in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence destroys our jobs. How the fuck are we supposed to be working in our mid-60s, you dumb idiot? You piece of shit. If AI is taking over our jobs, which it is. That's taking over a lot of jobs. How stupid are these, Republicans, Democrats, both sides? Because they're not protecting us from artificial intelligence taking our jobs. They're not. They don't give a shit about us. They care about their own party's agenda, not the people. So if this passes, and this AI stuff and military, trillions of dollars into the military, we went off the 900 pages. I had that on here live. 100 billion here, 100 billion there. You know what 9 times, 1 billion is 9 billion, 900 billion, etc. The stuff adds up, and it becomes 1 trillion, etc., and everything. So they have 100 billion here, 100 billion there. It went over 1 trillion just for these military programs. I think we should have a strong, powerful military, but I don't like it where he's the military-industrial complex chief and the AI chief that's getting rid of our human jobs. And that's really deleting humanity. That's what AI is getting rid of humanity. And we have these overlords, the only people that'll have these jobs will be the ones in power, and AI will be our, will be king and stuff. Overlords. But now they're just jabbering and stuff like that. Let's see, I need more light in here. I don't feel like putting on more light. Because it actually blinds you.
Miss Cantwell. Miss Cantwell. Aye. Mr. Schatz. Mr. Schatz. Aye. Mr. Fetterman. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, no.
8:38 Pacific. 11:38
Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse, aye.
So supposedly this is live.
Mr. Hoven. Mr. Hoven, no. Mr. Langford. Mr. Langford, no.
Live voting.
Mr. Wicker. Mr. Wicker, no. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Mr. King. Mr. King, aye.
Hold on just a minute. Hold on. Be right back.
Mrs. Gillibrand. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, no.
Did I do that?
Mr. Moran. Mr. Moran.
Guess so.
No.
Oops. That is interesting. AI versus NHI. And is Bigfoot an alien?
Mr. Grassley. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. McCormick. Mr. McCormick, no.
Let me get this fixed. Screen is about to go black for a second because I need to
Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz, no.
So Cruz said no. Yeah, ceasefire should never happen.
Ms. Murkowski. Ms. Murkowski, no.
Saw that one. Is that really Senator Cruz that voted no? Wonder why he did. But that would be interesting. I don't know about anybody else, but I'd be pissed if Trump made me go all these days without sleep and everything. I would just about vote no, no matter what bill it is, just because of that. I'd be fucking pissed. I don't know. It depends. It depends. It does. I mean, to be honest, it was good that they did all 900 pages, that they read it all off. Unfortunately, that goes in and out.
Mr. McConnell, no.
Here's McConnell, no, I saw that. There goes the Visine. Probably needs more liquids.
Mr. Barrasso, no.
Mr. Barrasso. Is he Italian or what? What nationality is?
Mr. Thune, no. Mr. Kennedy, no.
The yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion is not agreed to.
Not passed. Not passed.
Mr. President.
Senator from Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a motion to commit at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The senator from Colorado, Mr.
That
Bennett,
guy's
moves to commit
mic
Bill
is
H.R.
too
1 to the Committee on
overpowered.
Finance
Yeah,
of the
I have
Senate
that.
with instructions to report the same back to the
I ask that further reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. The legislation we're debating today would modestly increase the size of the child tax credit while leaving out more than 17 million children from the full credit. America's poorest children, whose families are struggling to make ends meet, receive nothing from this bill. Everywhere I go in Colorado, I meet parents who are working
Colorado,
hard,
oh my God, I'll
and
trust
3
them.
jobs
Nothing
just
what
to
they say
keep
is
their
all
families'
BS. I'll
heads
trust
above
what
water.
they say. I know.
Like Americans all across this country, Mr. President, they are wrestling with the legacy of 50 years of trickle-down economics that have benefited the wealthiest Americans while leaving working and middle-class families behind, which this bill does again. Today, the United States boasts one of the highest childhood poverty rates in the industrialized world. This is a moral disgrace, but we know how to end childhood poverty in this country. In 2021, we expanded the child tax credit in our childhood poverty. We cut it nearly in half and hunger by a quarter.
Senator's time's expired.
Thank you, Mr. President. We should refuse to pass a bill that adds millions to our debt in order to cut taxes for the wealthiest while doing nothing for our kids. I urge my colleagues to support this amendment to the bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Senator from Idaho.
Mr. President, the Democrats contend that they want to increase and expand the child tax credit and ensure that big corporations and ultra-wealthy pay their fair share. Despite the rhetoric behind these claims, I remind my colleagues that Republicans created the child tax credit, expanded its availability, and doubled the amount of the credit in the TCJA, which we are working on tonight. This bill not only makes that doubled child tax credit permanent, but also increases it, providing significant relief for families. In addition, as a result of the TCJA cutting taxes for overwhelmingly the majority of Americans, with the middle class receiving the largest proportional benefit of these cuts, Republicans made the tax code more progressive, not less. The legislation before us makes those tax provisions permanent. Americans deserve more than empty platitudes. They deserve meaningful tax relief and real results.
The question is on the motion.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks.
Well, they already voted. It's already no. So, I want to see what some people said here. On a friend of mine's ex here. Let me see. See, I have to reload it. Let's see. About transition, stuff like that. I believe people should only do that 21, not at 18, but honestly, I'm glad that I got that Andrew Branca thing, because there is two sides definitely to this, and people need to investigate both sides. And there are Americans that are abusing the welfare system, Medicare, Medicaid systems as well. Illegals are making it just that much worse, compounding it and stuff. So, I mean, if you come here legally and stuff that they do it the legal way, you get my respect, you ain't gonna have all these complaints and everything. You do it the illegal way where you get everything, for free, you get special, state grants, incentives, get paid stuff. Those who are not abusing the system, I respect. And I hope that, if anyone else sees this, then, that they know that I acknowledge that and everything. There's a right way and a wrong way of doing things and stuff, so. I've heard bad things about Zoran Dog. It doesn't even sound American. Let's see. Socialist running for mayor, his policies continue in New York to Venezuela. I've heard that. And only a few percentage of voters have showed up to vote. Sounds like he's from a third world country, to be honest, from. Oh, let's just let me see here.
All right, New York, I want y'all to pay attention to this, okay? We've seen certain Democrats get up and rally behind Zohan Mamdini, an Ishmaelite who is running to be mayor, a socialist democratic Ishmaelite. Now, who is Ishmael? Ishmael is one of the sons of Abraham, and the Bible describes these people as a wild man. It says Ishmael is a wild man. His hand is against every man, and every man's hand is against him. And clearly this man's policies is going to lead New York to be in Venezuela and lead to people being in ration line, okay? But what we can see is the Democratic playbook. He wants to hand out free everything, and then he said government control. Let me tell y'all something about that government control. You give government the control, you on your way to the mark of the beast. If the government controls your grocery stores, that means they can control how much you
That's
buy.
Russia. That's
Russia.
called
rationing. And it's on its way. And so I see Greasy Al Sharpton standing behind him. I see other Democrats standing behind him. So I want y'all to pay attention to the Democrats that are standing behind this guy. All the sleazy ones that we've known for years, your Maxine Waters, your Al Sharptons, your Pritzkers, your Raskins, your Jamie, all of these guys, they all sleazy. One thing that I do know is if the Democrats like you, it's terrible. And if the Democrats hate you, you're probably good for America. I'm just saying. So anytime I see these radical, like AOC standing up for her, she ain't got much for brains up there. But anytime you see that, y'all run for the hills. Don't y'all put that up in there. Don't y'all put that just because he say free. Free means control. Free means control. Free means I'm going to give you something, but you got to give me something. Because there ain't nothing in this life that's free. Nothing. So I want y'all to pay attention to that. Anytime you see Al Sharpton rallying behind somebody, run, baby, run. Go America.
or Zoran Mondan. Zoran Mondan. These private houses are turned into public communes. All the same name of guaranteed housing, goodbye property rights. We don't have property rights since the stupid Supreme Court took those away with eminent domain. Yeah, it is socialism, but yeah, she's government ages tries. Yeah, shit, they don't have to here illegally. They'll have to give you a warrant. If you commit a crime here, any American that commits a crime that's not even illegal, you get taken away from your children. You commit a crime, you get your children taken away from you. There should be no exception to illegals. Like they're entitled piece of shit dudes. What the fuck? I hate to be like that, hateful like that, but I hate people say that they don't deserve that. You commit a crime being here illegally, period. And she has kids, so she's probably getting state welfare, EBT food stamps, and whatever welfare stuff as well. So she's taking taxpayer money and stuff. I could be wrong. There is a chance I could be wrong. But let me see. Yeah, that's done. It's a piece of crap, so it's all it is. Yeah, I already did this, but I'll put in his thing. I already did his report,
but now it's also broke.
I do reports off of here and other things, so, but anyways, last one, because I always say things.
As Anthony Cabasa showed us, the ICE riots were not only destructive, but incredibly expensive to respond to, accomplishing absolutely nothing to stop these.
Actually, now that the LA riots are in the rearview mirror, what did they accomplish? Nothing.
Hey, if people want me to do more of those relationship OnlyFans stuff, I could do that. But so I say something. But
literally nothing.
Federal raids all across the county.
It was
the Trump
great
administration
content.
openly states, it only caused them to double down.
On to LA Mayor Karen
That's
Bass.
right, bro. Okay, I was like, what? Wait. The thing is, like, yes, 100%. Like, and that's the thing. The more they cry, the more you need to just keep going and do it even more. Just completely, bro, break their spirit, break their soul.
Demanding that
The
ICE
mayor's name is
operations
even Karen?
completely stop
Yeah.
here in Los Angeles. Fans laughed and said there is a 0% chance that is going to happen. He says the more riots, the more protests, the more activists and politicians that interfere, they're going to double down on their operations at the federal level.
Now, it would be one thing if all this did was waste the EBT tribe's time, and possibly whoever was mysteriously funding these riots. But no,
Where do they come
this is
from?
going to domino into the collapse of Los Angeles. As of yesterday.
I live in California.
I got a
It's weird that
special
Kamala's running
message
governor.
for some dork on Kick. Listen, dude. I remember, doing when I was doing real work on OnlyFans. All right. I would never ever pay anybody. I would never, go to people and get viewers, because you got a name that smells like a fucking bot up your ass, dude. You do. You smell like a bot. Alright? And it's like, I never needed to pay anybody for subs. I didn't care for that. I could have, and that's not exactly pay for subs, even though they're real people and stuff like that. Actually, some of them, it's questionable, because when you do it through OnlyFans, you have to put in the info that you're actually a real person, credit card information, debit card, whatever, right? To be on there, nobody could just go on there. You have to prove you're 18 and shit, right? And it's like, I'm never gonna pay anybody for fucking, get me subs or whatever. I mean, it's like, why the fuck am I to do that? Well, I'm not going to pay anybody to like me. That's the biggest bullshit there is. I know you didn't say that yours is a paid thing, but you're on Discord and stuff, and I know places have tiers where you pay a certain amount. It's just like OnlyFans stuff, where people say, "Hey, get on here. We got then they privately message you." And stuff like says, "Hey, this costs this costs that." What the fuck? You think I would do that? I don't even have that much money. If I did, I'm not going to pay for people. I'm not going to do that. And I remember somebody coming to Carly Gray where she wasn't doing that well for a little bit. And, she's going through some stuff we all do and everything. Everyone goes through a dry period. But she still had thousands of people and everything. And so it said, someone went to Carly Gray, an adult star, and said, "I think you need to get with us, spend some money, and get some people." I was like, she don't need your ass. What the fuck are you talking about? She's an adult star. Come on. Everybody goes through a dry period and stuff like that. And then things get better and everything. But for me to go, what the fuck, that's fucking dishonesty. I don't want no fucking bots. I don't want no fakes. This is supposed to be for hardcore, fan stuff. I don't expect people, I don't want everybody exactly to agree with everything I say either, because not everything that I say is exactly that good. But I could do better, I think. I do this and I fit. You understand what I'm saying? So, I don't even like the way that I sound sometimes when I get pissed off. I don't. And everything. But, I mean, for somebody to say, "Hey, get on Discord or do this," and then there's me, it's like, what the fuck? Why the fuck would I do that shit? Are you fucking kidding me? You're just a fake. You're a fraud. You're a fraud. You pay for memberships and stuff. You're a fraud. You're nothing. I'd rather be nothing to be a fraud.
I mean, to be fair, okay, she did fuck everything up too as vice president. Like, yeah, I was gonna say at least she didn't light the country on fire, but then
I live here in LA County, so I mean I got this last week of this report and how our programs for Americans and stuff like that, low-income people, poor people, people's concern around here where I live as well. Cutting back on people's jobs for the poor and needy that need it. And listen, I hate hating illegals. I hate that. I hate hating. It doesn't help me. It helps nobody. And I hope that anybody that I love that hates what I've been saying will see this and hear this. I hate that. I hate hating like that and everything. It's just that when it takes away from our own people that need it, that's why we get pissed. You know what I'm saying? I want people to understand that. I hate sounding cold. And if I saw a person, I've given people needy on the streets. I've been on the streets. I know what that's like. You think I'd ask them to show if they're illegal or not? No. I would, but it's like, thing is, it's like you don't, just go through the legal process, alright? Let's make sure you're not a criminal doing bad stuff. Do things the right way. Alright? You get respect. You get cred. Everything, but you also have illegals that are taking our jobs and getting paid less to do those jobs, and we lose our jobs. We're suffering. And I hate Haiti. And I hope that some of my girlfriends understand that, stuff like that. I know the guys I know, they get that and everything. It's just, the ladies I know, they've been, they're a gift to me. And I worry about how they think of me. And some of them say, just be you. The thing is, they can't go on my channel because they're afraid of getting heat from what I say. And they'd be afraid to hey, I don't want to get questions, political stuff. I hate politics. Anyways, let's listen.
Actually, when they were president, they did have those fires, all those riots and shit too. So, I don't know. I mean, y'all are fucked, man. Y'all are fucked.
Thank you, Osmond. We're fucked.
But unless you're hot, why
don't you give us some money?
I don't want any competition, okay? Things are hard enough for me already. Unless you're a hot girl, you cannot come to Texas.
I'm a hot girl. I'm going transition. I'm transitioning tonight.
LA just declared
let's get an ambulance. Let's guys go. Let's transition and go to OnlyFans and make money. That's my amen to everybody. Fuck this. Let's all transition and go to OnlyFans, make money. We're fucked. We're screwed. Holy fuck. The sky is falling.
Proposed laying off 1,600 employees, with 400 of them being from the LAPD, asking for a $2 billion bailout.
Just
from
what they need. Less police.
State.
For sure.
Let's be clear. 1 month after that request, California announced a $12 billion deficit.
This is the same stupid mayor saying that fire crews in the fire department always had enough money. That we always had money for fire crews during the fires. She lied out of her ass and stuff. And the fire chief said we didn't have at least $8 million or so for fire crews, adequate fire crews, and fire trucks, etc., ambulances. We didn't have enough money for that. Bass has been lying out of their kazoo the whole time. People's in fire department, LAPD, sheriffs are being cut.
Citing Trump's tariffs. So
It's not Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs has nothing to do with this. The tariffs have to do with technology more and steel. It's not going to have anything to do with our jobs, with the fire department, LAPD. How stupid do you think we are? Do you think we're going to fall for that? No, that's not what impacts. That's not what it impacts. It's going to impact what we buy technology-wise, like motherboards, CPUs, some of that stuff, phones, smartphones. Mainly smartphones. That's what it could impact. It's not going to impact the firefighters, the LAPD. Stop the bullshit.
What?
Somehow doubt Bass is going to get that bailout. But after those proposed cuts, the anti-ICE Protests and rallies cost the city an additional $32 million.
Well, you caused
I don't
it.
believe that.
You caused that problem.
I think it was way more than that. I
Yeah.
think that they are underrepresenting it because they don't want to show how badly they fucked up. There's no
They
way it
don't.
was only $32 million. I feel like even if they said $320 million,
Well, they did the same thing in their cities with the illegals, where they would not even report the crimes that illegals were committing, and they said that crime had went down when it had went up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're lying on their kazoos about this.
like maybe.
Causing them to need 248 police non-sworn personnel layoffs and cutting 41 actual firefighters, even though they're...
So you didn't even have enough firefighters to put out the fires of the cars. So the solution to that is to get
rid of them. They're the problem. Firefighters are a problem. The LAPD is the problem. Not the people that are doing this, that are committing crimes. They're not the problems. No. You guys are the problems. You have an emergency? We need to get rid of the ambulances. You're a problem. You're helping the people. We can't have that. There's a crime being committed? Get rid of the police. They're a problem. We can't have that. We need to allow these crimes to continue. Somebody gets stabbed? Get rid of the police. We don't want to hear about it. Someone just got shot? We don't care. Get rid of the police. There's a fire? Get rid of the firemen. Get rid of the wildfire people. Is there something wrong with that? This is just me. I don't think it is. I don't think it's just me.
rid of
It's
the more
them.
fire. Oh shit.
Got a fire, got a murder to report? That's your problem. Fix it yourself. Good luck. Goodbye.
They're only getting rid of citizen employees of the
shit.
police department. Keep in mind.
It's like,
during-
imagine if everybody hates the police. Like, imagine if you're a firefighter out in California and you're just getting kicked in the dick by this.
The thing is, I've had plenty of bad altercations with cops and everything. I'm like flip, you know. There's times to hate law enforcement, and there's times where we need law enforcement. And law enforcement, a lot of it's become pussified, become pussies a lot of ways. In the old days, they didn't allow any of this stuff to happen. You'd be shot dead. You'd be run over, or whatever. I'm not saying to do that with everybody, I'm not. Let's make this clear. But some of these people out there, they deserve it. We need to get home. They need to be taken on our streets, freeways. We have people that need to get home from work, need to get to work. People that need to get diapers, people that need to get medicine, being taken to the hospital and can't get taken to the hospital. People are dying or whatever. That's not getting reported by mainstream news, by the way. They're not going to report that. They're going to say peaceful protest. They're going to say it's peaceful protest when it's rioting. I think we all know better than that, though.
You had nothing to do with this. You didn't have anything to do at all. Oh my God. How are you going to say the LA protests didn't accomplish anything, yet they did cost the government, which they disagree with, $232 million? Okay.
I think it accomplished a lot for the other side, for these criminals that created this mayhem. They won. We, the people, lost. We lost. That want to have open streets, peaceful streets. And we want to be able to get to work, do our jobs. We need to get to our families. We need to get to our kids. We need to get medicine. If people don't make it to the hospital, die. Mainstream news is not putting that out. They're not.
Let me address your question because it's just so stupid. I can't let it go. How are you going to say the LA protests didn't accomplish anything, yet they cost the government, which they disagree with, $32 million? Because the government that they agree with is the local government, which is the LA government. The LA government is on board with them, and they actively did not cooperate with ICE. So it cost the Los Angeles department that they agreed with. This is, again, it's the local government and state government and city government versus federal government. And then you go, I think it's more than that. I don't even know. They're sending retards. That's, I was going to say they're not sending their best, but how can people be that stupid? Because people like that, you have to understand, is that people like that are like very, very low.
Get rid of the LAPD, send in the gang members to police. Make gang members, cartel that have crossed the border, could do a better job. Get rid of the police, get rid of the firefighters. They're a problem, they're a nuisance. They want to be paid. We can't have that. We can't have people saving lives. Arresting people for murder, rape, assaults, batteries. Can't have that. People with cardiac arrest, too bad. Find a way yourself.
Intelligence, but they don't know it. So what they do is they come up with these like if I don't think about this at all, it makes sense, like gotchas.
Those wildfires that recently hit Los Angeles, a lot of their fire trucks weren't in service as they just laid off the civilian employees responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of those vehicles. As Los Angeles continues to decimate their ability to enforce the law, citing finances. Which is awfully interesting, as the LA Times just reported 2 days before that the city council approved $250,000 for the city attorney to bring in an outside legal team to respond to the Trump administration.
Pay them, the special interest people. Isn't this, we need the police. If you hate the cops, there's a time when we need them. All right, we need first responders, we need firefighters, we need ambulances, and they're doing this shit so they can guard their own asses because criminals are running LA, running government, running California, different states, and I can say both sides are criminals. Both sides are, and not on one side or the other. There's corruption everywhere. But, don't give it to where it's needed. Don't give it to first responders. Let's get it to safeguard our asses.
How is it that you have a fucking... So if they have all this illegal alien labor, and they're constantly running a deficit, doesn't that kind of prove that the whole idea that these illegal aliens are, like, helping the economy? Like, either they are so astronomically retarded that they have this massive advantage that they still can't manage to overcome, or maybe having a bunch of illegal aliens that can't even speak English in the country doesn't actually increase the economy. I don't know, guys. I wonder which one it is. And actually, wait a minute.
Well, the thing is with the illegals that have these jobs, like Tyson Foods, all these other food companies that me and others have reported over the years, is that they're taking our jobs and they're adding illegals in for lower wage. So that's, in a sense, human trafficking. And you have government that's enabling this in certain states. The far left that's making money off of this. This stuff. They're making money off illegals. Give government grants and everything for housing, etc. And then, Americans are losing these jobs for lower wage illegals. They're then taking those jobs. This stuff on Catholic charities, where they were getting them jobs, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, where they're giving them housing, and there are people on the streets there in Houston, Austin, there in Texas. And Catholic Charities will not help any of the homeless on the streets. But they were funneling in trafficking illegals, getting them housing, getting them jobs, everything else. That's not just there in Houston, but California, around the country as well. If people look that stuff up on Catholic Charities and other NGOs.
We don't have to choose. It's obviously both.
Their article with, they have been willing to detain and deport people that are here legally. I don't think I've seen a single instance of this, and let me know if you have in the comment section, but it just seems to be more of this fear-mongering that only reinforces the idea that local residents need to protest the feds, which will only dig them deeper into debt, forcing them to lay off more police officers that keep the citizens safe with seemingly unlimited amounts for attorneys to keep themselves safe. And again, who does a city expect to pick up the check?
Because they're just going to blame, they're just going to blame Trump and our stuff like they're blaming the other side. That's what they want. It's narcissism.
Listen, as Mayor Bass did a press event cleaning up some graffiti in her $100 night.
She's not doing a good job. It's optics. It's a photo op.
This is just, bro, like... The thing is that, like,
Photo op,
whenever
yeah.
Trump worked at McDonald's, like, you think about the aura that came from that versus her doing this. This is just fucking sad, bro. This is pathetic, bro. Oh my god.
He dunks, but then the residents were upset
And also,
to receive.
don't you have a power washer? Yeah, exactly. Like, you just go over that with a power washer, should probably take off the majority of it right there.
An email asking them to give up their Saturday to volunteer to clean up the city after they let the rioters destroy it. As even after the riots ended, they're still vandalizing their own community to fight ICE.
Wait, what is this?
It's ended. They're still vandalizing.
Fuck Trump, fuck ICE, fuck
their own.
Fuck ICE, ICE. You ran out of room for the third one, didn't you? They're actually fucking retarded. Oh my god. Bro. That's so fucking sad.
Community to
look at that.
Fight ICE. It's insane that none of this is actually effective in pushing out the feds. The city has just taken this bizarre position of defending the destruction under the assumption that the regular citizens will pay the tab, as the most outrageous aspect of this broke city is a rent freeze for immigrants.
Labor unions are joining forces today demanding action to protect Angelenos against immigration raids. The local SEIU 721 labor union, along with...
By the way, putting it both sides of the coin, American citizens took advantage of this in different states too. I know people here that took advantage of this. It wasn't just illegals that did it. Americans did it as well. This is also from COVID, residual effect from that as well. Or you could kick them out, that's cool. And some people didn't pay their rent. I paid my rent. I wasn't stupid to say, fuck it, I'm not going to pay my rent because when it's over, tens of thousands of dollars or more in rent. And you know what? People that didn't pay rent, they're out on the streets. You know what? That's their dumbass fault. For not paying rent. Whether American citizen or illegal, doesn't matter. If you're to be like that, you don't deserve housing. Doesn't matter whom you are. Don't be a menace. Don't be an idiot. Don't expect stuff for free like that. You're supposed to pay where you live. You're supposed to do that. It's respect and everything. You know what I'm saying? So.
And the tenants union are
Don't take our slaves. No. No, please don't take. Who's gonna clean the house? Oh no. This is so fucking bad, man. Oh my god. They're tenants? Yes.
asking the LA City Council to pass an emergency
They
protection
took
to
advantage
help
of it.
families
And the
remain
thing
facing
is, they thought they could get away with it forever. Not just talking about illegals, but I'm talking about the people that lived here, that lived at these other places. And they said, well, I thought that they would be able to kick us out. Wrong. You're supposed to pay rent. I mean, it'd be nice if we didn't have to. It would be. In a better world, we wouldn't have to pay rent. We'd be able to live wherever we want, make a nice campfire, build our own shelter like the old days. We used to be able to do that. Not anymore. But you get what I'm saying? That's not the way it is. And they got pissed. And I remember there were workers here, a worker here was talking to me about some people where they'd been kicked out because they accumulated thousands of people, tens of thousands and stuff for not paying rent. And it's like, how could they be so stupid to think that they would never have to pay rent, that it would add up? I don't know, some people I think don't have the intelligence to have a place to live either, but
due to the immigration rates. The unions say many families may not be able to cover rent due to a family member who may have been taken by ICE, or who have family who may not be able to leave their homes due to fear of kidnapping. The groups claim Latinos make up majority.
I like how they use the term kidnapping. It's like, yeah,
Well,
guys,
kidnapping
no,
here
that's
is-
called being arrested.
Yeah, you're
It's
arrested
called
for
being
being
detained by the police.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy, but that's what happens. They're being kidnapped, yes. It's so disingenuous, it is.
Well, why didn't you become naturalized? Why didn't you become naturalized? This wouldn't happen if you're doing things the legal way. Why isn't the news reporting that? If you're doing this the natural way, you go to court, to the immigration court and stuff like that. You show proof that you're making your way, you're making payments, you have a job, etc., and you're working hard to become an American citizen. You're learning the Constitution, the laws here, and stuff like that. So, I mean, these people that are getting deported, why did you not try to become naturalized? You had plenty of time to try to do it the legal way. As soon as you get here, you should try and go through the legal process. Why are you hiding? What do you have to hide? If you don't have anything to hide, why do you do it the legal way? Like with the rest of us. This is the thing. The media is going to try and say it's kidnapping and all sort of stuff. Why should you do it the legal way? You could have done that. You wouldn't have, if you would have gotten arrested anyway, they would have had to let you out because you're going through the process. They would have had to eventually let you out because it would have been shown that you're going through the naturalization process, the legal process.
Renters in the city of LA.
Nowadays, you don't know who's the cop.
I just have to
who's
say
the
that,
ICE
put
agent,
that out
now
there.
who's a bounty hunter. Now, I can be dressed as a cop.
Exactly.
And just go kidnap people.
No matter what you're legal.
Why do you do it the legal way? You don't have to worry about it.
When does this happen? They're being disappeared? For sure.
As someone that lived in LA during the lockdowns, I despise this, as at the time I was furloughed from my job, where basically I had the option to not pay rent and not get evicted until I got my job back. But even though I struggled, I still paid it just to not have a huge payment at the end. not knowing
You know you pay rent regardless. You got that money, you better pay rent. Because they'll come back and they'll kick your ass out if you don't pay rent. Why the fuck do you think that you're gonna never have to pay rent again? There are people that weren't able to and stuff like that, that's different, you know. And how to find a job and everything, that's a lot different. That's why there's that moratorium in different cities and around the country, right? It was because of that. You know, that you don't kick people out when they're dying or destitute. That's just wrong and immoral and stuff, in my view, not right whatsoever. But if you got the money, got the income, don't be an idiot, pay your rent. Because all that adds up when you don't pay it, plus interest. And, you know, that includes, you know, gas, utilities, or whatever. You know, so.
the city would essentially forgive the rent debt and settle with the landlords, meaning I just wasted over $10,000 from my own bank account and countless more as the city's funds would go to paying off my neighbor's rent. Now I have...
This is a very, very good lesson.
It is.
We had this happen too. Never pay your bills, always default, never answer the phone calls, actively obstruct, take out credit card debt, pay it with other credit cards. When they call, tell them you're not there.
You're accumulating debt. Don't do that. Don't do.
This is what my mom, bro,
she
would be $90,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
$20.
You're killing yourself. You just cut your own head off. If it was done enough, don't be an idiot. Do not be an idiot and do that. Don't ever use your credit cards like that. Don't. You might as well not pay it. Might as well just cut up your credit cards and not use it because you just accumulate that debt, not threat, debt. You know what I'm saying? I know because I've been through a little bit of that myself, and it's just you're cutting your own head off.
And I'm like, we gonna get Taco Bell? She says, yes, of course.
I take all my days to Taco Bell. That's probably why I don't have any dates. But, you know, I want to show them how much I love them. I say, let's go to Taco Bell. And I said, well, what are you going to get me? For some odd reason, they go off and they get pissed. I said, well, what? It's a new movement. You can pay for me now, right?
Hell yeah, we're gonna get Taco Bell.
Get the Taco Bell.
We're fucking rich.
Damn, right? We're rich, baby.
Did you ever pay off? No.
We're rich. We're going to Taco
She got
Bell.
away with everything.
Taco Hell.
She got away with all of the debt. She got away with all of the default payments. She got away with all of it.
I have a date with my adult star. I know. I'm taking her to Taco Bell. I'm taking my lady to Taco Bell. Holy shit. Oh God. I love to make money more often.
City, and good riddance as they're about to do the same thing again, digging themselves deeper into debt, on top of the new debt they just requested.
City Council authorized a $5 million loan to help pay overtime for LAPD officers working around the clock during recent ICE protests in downtown LA. Officials say the city of Los Angeles has already spent $19.7 million in response to the protests, with nearly $12 million of that money paid for overtime for the officers.
And correct me if
I'm... What retard even does this?
$1 million of that money.
We're gonna light a cardboard on fire and
they should have been shot. They should have been shot for doing
paying
that.
for overtime for the officers.
And correct me if I'm wrong,
they got
but I thought those
scared
LA coppers don't actually get paid overtime. They just bank
Let's
those...
say if I did that to a cop, I expect them to shoot me dead. And they should. They have that right. If I do something like that to a cop, I expect them to shoot me dead. And these cops turn to pussies, in my view. They turn to pussies. Nobody's going to respect law enforcement. Okay? That's just pussies. They're going to keep on spitting at you. They're going to keep on attacking you. They get off on that. They see you as less than human. The only way that they'll stop is that if you fight back. They respect that. They will stop if you hit back, if you use force. I'm just saying. Again, I have a love-hate relationship for law enforcement, but that they cross the line.
Extra work hours as vacation time to be used at a later date. So I don't really know what this extra $5 million is for, other than covering the shortcomings they already couldn't afford. And it's only getting worse from here.
This is video from 9th and Spring this morning, and it sure looks to the layman that those LAPD officers on scene are at least helping the operation as those federal agents took people into custody.
Just arrest them, bro. Just arrest them, put them in jail. What they should have done, this is what they should have gone out with nets. And they should have gone with nets. Like, I think, like, I mean, you know, because, like, I really, I like content, right? I like making content. And I think that they need nets. Like the big ones, like, you know, you catch a butterfly, but just like a really, really big one. And like you could put them under people, right? And you can make it with like Kevlar and like Ebolas. Yeah, no, because then they could get hurt. And then like, what if they break their arm? Because then that would be a problem for part 2. And then you have to pay for their broken arms. Ankle bracelets on all of them, and you make all these people clean up the whole fucking city. That's it. Yep, you make them clean the whole fucking thing up. Like they have to clean up like their blown up cars. Yeah. They have to clean up like all of that KKK shit, etc. Yep, and you could even have it. That's true. You could have Mr. Beast do it. That's a good idea. Isn't that slavery? I would call it a surprise job.
He has just come out with a statement saying that is not true. They were simply there on a call of a kidnapping. And once they realized that was not taking place, they were there for crowd control. A lot of these people say are in this group are calling these kidnappings and not people being taken into custody.
What a bunch of pussies this become, man. Holy God. They're law enforcement. Law enforcement, that's where there's like the Civil War thing. It's like by law, they're supposed to help other law enforcement. The ICE is doing that. They're doing a job. If we commit a crime, if I commit a crime or something, I need to get arrested. If I'm here illegally, I expect to get deported. Do things illegally.
Which I believe stems from local Reddit posts.
Just the secret police.
Where I've seen countless replies with thousands of upvotes suggesting this exact tactic, as this should be considered the same as filing a false police report, as they know what they're witnessing, but are just feigning stupidity in order to waste police resources. With the real
anybody who's intentionally wasting police resources should be, you know, they should be charged for something.
Yeah, they should.
Like, or fined massively. Like, because they're just wasting people's money, right? I mean, jail time. I would say jail time if you're weaponizing them in a way that's like, you know, violent potentially.
How long is different?
But like maybe, right? Maybe.
Users being any law-abiding taxpayers that actually need the police, but get stuck with 1-hour hold times with 6-hour response times. And where are the sheriffs during all of this? Well, after Trump sent those B-2s into Iran, the official LA County Sheriff's account posted, "Their hearts go out to the victims and families impacted in Iran," which is a
It's something how the people of Iran hate the Ayatollah Khomeini's, whatever, you know. I like to make fun of them. If I could, I'd make fun of their names a lot more. But I need to find the right rhymes and stuff like that. They should all be dead, killed off, because they're extremists. They torture, they mutilate women and men, you know, stuff, and women have no rights. The Sharia law, you have to wear a burqa and everything. And if you don't, you get beaten in certain places. You could be executed. If you protest, the law there is that you could be jailed or executed and everything. So, I mean, people have no rights there in most of Iran. It's case by case, but I've heard some places have become more, I'd say, pacified lately, but there's still that extremist regime that needs to be destroyed. Trump was stupid, he could not ceasefire, because same people are in charge of it. They hate America, they hate Americans. They hate Westerners, they hate free thinking, and everything that goes against Sharia law. And that was stupid Trump's part. Very stupid and dumb of him. Very stupid. I think that was for his ego. I believe he did that for his ego. Because it doesn't take care of the problem. And the people there, they want the regime dead and gone. They don't like that regime.
Iran didn't have the internet at that point. They shut down the internet because they didn't want the people of Iran to realize that they were getting their ass beat, and so that they shut it down. So like the people in Iran wouldn't even be able to read that to begin with. They're talking. It's literally just a virtue signal for like other weirdos in that city to be like, oh wow, we really care about them.
Essentially, an American sheriff sending condolences to Iranian nuclear facilities.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more Los Angeles than that.
Well,
now, they did try to quietly edit out their condolences in that post, but eventually had to delete it due to the backlash, later posting an apology stating they fell short of expectations. Los Angeles County is officially cooked, as nothing in this entire video seems to show the city actually cares about their law-abiding, tax-paying, regular citizens that keep the city running. It's all about coddling criminals, virtue signaling, and deficit spending. And that comes from the top, as when the rioters were burning the city, apparently Governor Newsom was too busy sipping wine. But when Vice President J.D. Vance stopped by to check in on the Marines saving the city, out of nowhere, Newsom now wants to come through for a debate. Parts of his state are on fire.
He's trying to debate on this shit? Like, bro, like, you need to debate whether you want to put out the fire or not. So, we got somebody right here. What are you saying? I really liked you a lot. I don't understand how you can actually be so short-sighted. Thanks for teaching me to go outside my door and actually make my own picture of this world. Bro, it's actually what's happening in Germany. Someone gets on the top using a group of people everyone hates, while everyone doing that dysfunction of your political system gets more power. There are ASMR videos about how to deport people. I mean, for fuck's sakes. So, which group of people...
Europe has been totally, the UK been totally destroyed by migrants. It is not Europe anymore. I've done reports on that in Europe before where migrants, it is not. It is not. It looks like a third world country in Europe. If they want Sharia law, you have extremism rampant there in the UK, Ireland, Scotland. Does not look like Scotland. There's hardly any white people left in these places or anything. You know, it's just, you know, rapes, murders, stuff has been happening to Native people, and the governments have allowed it and jailed, you know, white people, say that they're racist and also BS and everything.
Here are the Jews from Nazi Germany. Which group is it? You got timed out. Which group do you think are the Jews from Nazi Germany? I'm super curious. Anyway, let me go back. We'll watch the rest of this, and then I'll pull it
With
up.
the rest of it going bankrupt, but the only thing that gets him out there is performative nonsense for his presidential campaign and his podcast. So if you appreciate my
he not gonna run for president. Gavin Newsom is gonna get immediately disqualified for being a rat. and then also like him trying to act like more Republican and like distance himself from like woke stuff is just gonna make everybody hate him, man. What about some face masks? Some cultures cover their mouth to stop spreading their sickness. Why would I care?
They've done that in China and Japan for decades. I was doing that sometimes off and on before COVID or anything. Of course, people think you're insane, but over there in Japan, parts of Japan and China and other smaller Asian countries, people wear masks a lot of the time because the air quality is poor over there. So, anyways, that's that. I think I should have, in some ways, would have gotten more if I would have gone with relationships and only found stuff, and I think, I should have done that instead. I don't want people to think that I'm so much a hater. I think it's just that I like how it makes me look, and I covered both sides on this. I did, and everything. Anyways, I might be back on a little bit to talk about some of the other stuff. Everybody, take care. Have a good morning, night, wherever you are, and